po natin for this Sunday is the God of the hills and the valleys. The God of the hills and the valleys. Ang dami ko lang po pastor na napakinggan, ang dami ko lang po preacher na napakinggan. Pinag-reach nila to. With the same title, the God of the hills and the valleys. And kadalasan pinag-preach to sa mga camp. Yan. Kadalasan pinag-preach to sa mga camp. And isa ko sa mga pinakamagandang preaching na narinig ko. Kaya I'm still pressured na i-preach siya kasi I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to deliver it the same way mo alam siya narinig yung mga camp na inalalan ako before. But this is one of those preachings na hindi ko makakalimutan. Okay, this is one of those preachings na hindi ko makakalimutan. So, simulan natin. On 1 Kings 20, verse 1, basahin ko lang sa inyo, medyo madami ko pero babasahin natin ito lahat. Sabi niya dito, and Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, gathered all his hosts together, and there were 32 kings with him, and horses and chariots, and he went up and besieged Samaria, and warred against it. And he sent messengers to Ahab, king of Israel, unto the city, and said unto him, Thus saith Ben-Hadad, Thy silver and thy gold is mine, thy wives also and thy children, even the good years are mine. And the king of Israel answered and said, My lord, O king, according to thy saying, I am thine and all that I have. And the messengers came again and said, Thus speaketh Ben-Hadad, saying, Although I have sent unto thee, saying, Thou shalt deliver me thy silver and thy gold and thy wives and thy children, yet I will send my servants unto thee tomorrow about this time, and they shall search thine house and the houses of thy servant, and it shall be that whatsoever is pleasant in thine eyes, they shall put it in their hand and take it away. Then the king of Israel called all the elders of the land and said, Mark, I pray you, and see how this man seeketh mischief. For he sent unto me for my wives and for my children and for my silver and for my gold, and I denied him not. And all the elders and all the people said unto him, Hearken not unto him, nor consent. So, ang backstory po na itong story na to, si King of Ahab, sino po naman kay King of Ahab? Kasi mga bakit mo natin natas? King of Ahab na? King Ahab, sorry. King Ahab. Sino si King Ahab? Teacher Jai. Sino si teacher? Sino si King Ahab? Hindi siya kaunuhan. Si King Ahab, ito po yung kilala sa Bible as the most wicked king to ever live. Okay? King Ahab. Si King Ahab, sinabi ng Bible yan. Tapos, si King Ahab din, yung asawa ni Queen Jezebel. Asawa ni Queen Jezebel. Tapos si Queen Jezebel, yung nag-introduce sa kanya kay Baal. Baal is known as the god of rain. Yun yung story ni Prophet Elijah. Na sinabi ni Prophet Elijah na kung totoo yung god of rain niya, kung totoo si Baal, na pinaniniwalaan niya, tawagin niya yung magkawagay ng apoy mula sa langit para sunugin yung calf. Okay? Di ba naalala niyo yung story na yan? O, yun si Baal. Si Baal, naging king of Israel siya. King of Israel is still known to this day na the people of God. Okay? They are still known as the people of God. Pero nung umupo na siya as bilang hari, hindi na siya naniwala sa Diyos ng Israel. Naniwala na siya kung saan sa ang Diyos kasi kaya na-inlove siya kay Jezebel at si Jezebel hindi naman from Israel. Si Jezebel, dala-dala yung Diyos sa puso niya. Okay? And that is, kita niyo po even though queen lang si Jezebel, ang laki na naging impact niya sa buhay ng mga Israelites. It means, piliin po natin yung magiging partner natin. Di ba? Kasi nga, yung partner mo, pwede kang ilayo sa Panginoon, ilayo sa will ng Panginoon. So, yun yung nangyari dito. Nilayo ni Jezebel si Ahab dun sa will ng Panginoon. And, ito nung nagkaroon ng famine dun sa land po nila, nagkaroon ng famine dun sa land of Israel, ano nangyari? Nung nalaman, nabalitaan ng mga ibang countries na nagkaroon ng famine, nagkaroon ng tagutom dun sa Israel, sinugod po nila yung Israel. Kasi nga, may famine. It means, hirap sila economically. Wala silang panggawa ng wala silang workforce kasi nga may famine. So sinugod sila, ni Ben-Hadad, dun sa Samaria, and besieged Samaria, and warred against them. So nung sinugod po sila sa Samaria, dito pinakita ni Ben-Hadad kung gaano siya kalakas. At naging under niya na lang si King Ahab. Okay? Naging under niya na lang si King Ahab. Tapos nasabi sa kanya ni Ben-Hadad one day. Nagpadala ng messenger si Ben-Hadad. Kasi sabi ni Ben-Hadad, sabi ng messenger, na lahat ng gold mo, lahat ng silver mo, kahit yung mga asawa mo at saka yung mga anak mo, ibibigay mo sila sa akin. Okay? Ibibigay mo sila sa akin. At ang naging response po ni King Ahab is, yes, my Lord. Yes, my King. Binigay niya yung mga ari-ari niya, binigay niya yung gold niya, binigay niya yung silver niya, binigay niya yung asawa niya, binigay niya yung anak niya, dun sa King Ben-Hadad. This is the fall of Israel. Tapos, kung one time, ang sabi sa kanya, hindi lang yan. Ipapadala ko yung mga servant ko dyan sa bahay mo, hahanapin nila kung ano yung gusto nilang kunin, at kukunin nila lahat ng gusto nila, lahat ng makita nila ng gusto nila, pwede nilang kunin sa bahay mo, at wala kang pwede gawin. Yun po yung mangyayari sa Israel. And sabi sa akin, sabi dito ni King Ahab, siguro dito na puno na siya, Mark, I pray you can see how this man seeketh mischief, naghanap siya ng gulo. Okay? For he sent unto me for my wives and for my children and for my silver and for my gold, I deny him not. Ang sabi niya, hindi ko naman siya tinanggihan kung humihin siya ng gold, humihin siya ng silver. Kahit yung mga anak ko, binigay ko sa kanya, hindi siya tinanggihan. Pero ito, sumusobra na siya. Ang tanong dito is, King of Israel is known to be the people of God, pero bakit hindi, walang verse na sinabi na kinonsult nila ang Panginoon? Walang verse na sinabi na pumunta si King Ahab sa isang prophet at tinanong niya yung prophet na yun kung ano ba yung will ng Panginoon. Wala. Okay, this is the problem if hindi na natin pinapakalahan ang voice ng Panginoon. Problems will come in our lives, wala, hindi na natin pinapriority na lumapit muna sa Panginoon pagka may dumamit ng problema. Okay, mas lumalala po yung mga problems. And verse 9, wherefore he said unto the messengers of Ben-Hadad, tell my Lord the king, all that thou didst send for to thy servant at the first I will do, gagawin ko, but this thing I may not do. And the messengers departed and brought him word again. So sabi ni Ahab, yung first request niya, kaya kong gawin. Pero yung second request niya, hindi ka pwede gawin. Okay? Nag-draw na ng line si King Ahab doon. It means, ito yung line, hindi na pwede mag-cross dito, Ben-Hadad. Pero, always remember, Ben-Hadad is stronger than Israel. Is stronger than King Ahab. At sabi niya dito, verse 1, and there were 32 kings with him. Ang kalaban dito ng Israel, si Ben-Hadad, at saka 32 kingdoms. Kita natin na, yung kamay mo ng Panginoon sa Israel, ang kalaban ng Israel, for example, ano yung kalaban ng Israel ngayon? It's almost the same. Di ba? Nakikita natin Israel ngayon, kalaban niya lahat ng katabi niya. At ganoon din po yung time na to. Kalaban ng Israel, si Ben-Hadad, at saka yung 32 kingdoms. And verse 13, jump tayo from verse 9 to verse 13. And behold, there came a prophet unto Ahab, king of Israel, saying, thus saith the Lord, hast thou seen all this great multitude? Ito na, yung blessing ng Panginoon. Ang sabi niya, dumating na yung prophet. Kasi dati hindi kami na-consult yung prophet eh. Pero dumating na yung managab, dumating na yung pastor nila. At ang sabi ng pastor nila, hast thou seen all this great multitude? Makikita mo ba yung great multitude na ito? Makikita mo ba yung mga tao na yan? Makikita mo ba yung mga enemy mo? Sabi niya, behold, I will deliver it into thine hand this day, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Thou shalt know that I am the Lord. It makes us wonder that sometimes maybe God is sending us enemies just for Him to show to us that He is the Lord. Minsan, pinapadala talaga tayo ng mga problema ng Panginoon para ipakita niya sa atin na siya pa rin talaga yung hawak sa trono. Na wala pa rin talaga tayo nagagawa kung hindi tayo magtitiwala sa Kanya. And sometimes, dumarating yung mga problema na yan for revelation. Okay, for revelation po. And verse 20, jump tayo, and they slew everyone his man, and the Syrians fled, and Israel pursued them, and Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, escaped on a horse with the horsemen. And the king of Israel went out and smote the horses and chariots and slew the Syrians with a great slaughter. And the prophet came to the king of Israel and said unto him, go, strengthen thyself, and mark and see what thou doest, for at the return of the year of the king of Syria will come up against thee. Nung sinugod po nila yung camp, ay yung kingdom ni Ben-Hadad, Nung naging victorious na sila, nagtagumpay na sila dun sa naging victorious na sila dun sa gera. The blessing of God, alam mo kung yung blessing ko ng Panginoon? Ang sabi sa kanya, katapos ng gera, ang sabi sa kanya ng prophet, maganda ka for another battle. The blessing of God for your victory in this battle is another battle. Okay? It's another battle. And after this battle, another battle na naman. After this battle, another battle na naman. That is the theological impossibility number 2. In every battle, in every storm, in every collisions, God will remain victorious. God will remain victorious. Kahit anong battle na dumaan sa buhay natin, if we are going to trust in God, we will remain victorious. That is theological impossibility number 2. Imposible para sa Panginoon na matalo siya. Okay? Imposible po para sa Panginoon yan. Tuloy natin yung verse. And the prophets came to the king of Israel, said unto him, Go strengthen thyself. Palasin ni Sarili 1, verse 23. And the servants of the king of Syria said unto him, Their gods are gods of the hills. Therefore they were stronger than we. But let us fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they. Always remember this. Your problems are welcome in the presence of God. Your problems are welcome in the presence of God. And wala po tinitignan ng Panginoon na maliit na problema at malaking problema. Lahat po yan. Pagka sinabi po natin problema, pwede po natin dalhin sa Panginoon. But there is a problem in our Christian life if we were only seeking God pagka po dumarating yung problema. At yung sinasabi ng Panginoon, hindi na dapat dumating po yung problema sa atin in the first place. If only we knew how to seek the presence of God. Ang sabi niya, if you are not just bringing me your problems, if you are bringing me your emotions, if you are bringing me your concepts, if you are bringing me your thought processes, hindi ka na sana ng problema. Kung muna pa lang, binigyan mo sa akin yung problema mo. And problem starts before you can see it. For example, yung nasirang bubong dyan sa office natin sa kabila. Hindi naman natin nalaman agad, pero nagdidiging na pala yung bubong. Di ba? So, before pa magsimula yung problema, dapat nasolusyon na lang po natin. Okay? Bago pa magsimula yung problema, dapat iniyak. Kumbaga yung pagpaprocess natin ng emotions po natin, dapat binibigyan na natin sa Panginoon. And sometimes, akala natin kailangan compartmentalize namin yung puso natin. Hindi dapat. Dapat every time na nag-pray tayo, sinasabi natin sa Panginoon kung yung hindi lang problems, kung yung isip natin, kung yung sinasabi ng puso natin. Kung alam po yung nilalaman ng utak natin. And our title for the archives is The Guided Mind and the Guarded Heart. The guided mind and the guarded heart. Because if you are not going to guide your mind in the Word of God, your heart will fail. And if your heart will fail, anxiety will overtake your heart, will overcome your heart. Magtakot ka lagi. Okay? Papasok yung anxiety sa puso po natin. And sometimes we are trying to solve anxiety without solving the source of the anxiety, which is our mind. Okay? It is impossible for God to guard your heart if your mind is not guided by His Word. Okay? Kailangan po alam natin yung source ng problema natin. This is the source of our problem. If this mind is not guided by the Word of God, problema po talaga tayo. And anxiety will come in our hearts. Because our mind was not guided by the Word of God. Unahin po natin yung guidance ng Word of God sa utak natin at ang Panginoon na mag-guide sa puso natin. Okay? The guided mind and the guarded heart. Na lagi na naniniwala sa Panginoon na kung iaasa ko lang sa Panginoon lahat ng bagay, hindi naman talaga ako problema ka. Yes, that is true. Pero hindi ka, sabi na ng Bible, di ba? We are perplexed, but we are not in despair. Problema tayo, pero hindi tayo mawawalan ng pag-asa. Okay po? Problema tayo, pero hindi tayo mawawalan ng pag-asa. And this is the problem, is when we make an agreement with the enemy. Ganun yung naging fall ni King Ahab. Na nakipag-agree na siya sa kalaban niya, nakipag-agree na siya sa enemy niya. And sometimes we do this. Minsan unconsciously, ginagawa po natin ito. We agree with the enemy. And the reason why this church is still standing now, and isa sa mga purpose kung bakit na natin yung church natin, is because we want to guide the young minds para hindi na sila makipag-agreement sa enemy. Because that is the start of an addiction of drugs, that is the start of an addiction of the alcohol, start of an addiction of smoking. Yan po talaga nagsisimula niyan. Pagka po hindi natin ginag yung puso natin sa Panginoon, diyan nagsisimula yan. Kasi nga, humihiram tayo ng kasiyahan from tomorrow. Hinihiram natin ng kasiyahan from tomorrow, ginagamit natin today. Which means, kinabukasan, we will be in despair. Kasi hindi tayo tiwala sa Panginoon ngayon. So, tuloy natin yung verse. Yan, tuloy natin yung verse. And do this thing, take the kings away, every man out of his place, and put captains in their room, and number thee an army, like the army that thou hast lost, horse for horse, and chariot for chariot, and we will fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they. And he hearkened unto their voice and did so. Ito ang sabi ng mga kakampi po ni Ben-Hadad. Ang sabi ng kakampi ni Ben-Hadad, nilabanan nila tayo sa taas ng bundok eh. At sinabi nila, ang verse 23, sabi niya, their gods, God of Israel, their gods are gods of the hills. Ang sabi nila, yung Diyos kasi ng Israel, Diyos yan ng mga bundok eh. Diyos yan ng mga bundok. Okay, kung nalabanan natin sila in the valley, we can defeat them. Kasi yung Diyos nila nag-exist na sa bundok. Yun yung sinabi ng mga kaaway nila. But they didn't know that God is not based on any geological map, on any geological place. He is not dependent on any geological terrain. Hindi po umaasa ang Panginoon sa nasa hills at nasa valleys. Masabi niya dito, their gods are the gods of the hills. Therefore, they were stronger than we. But let us fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they. Sabi nila, labanan natin sila sa valley. Kasi kung nilabanan natin sila sa valley, maaaring hindi na sila makita ng Diyos nila. Maaaring hindi na sila makita ng Diyos nila. But they didn't know that the God we are serving is the God of the hills and the valleys. The God of the hills and the valleys. He is the God pagka masaya tayo. He is the God pagka prosperous tayo sa buhay natin. He is the God that we are serving pagka lahat na nangyayari sa buhay natin is almost seems like perfect. But He is also the God of the valleys. He is also the God when hindi na po natin alam kung sino yung tatawagan natin when we have problems. He is also the God of the valleys na nung hindi na natin nakikita yung light na nagsishine sa buhay natin, we can still depend on God. May mga times na hindi na tayo makakapag-depend sa mga tao. May mga times na hindi na po tayo makakapag-depend sa trabaho natin. Hindi na tayo makakapag-depend sa kanila. And we can still depend on God. He is the God of the hills and the valleys. Always remember this, the harder the enemy hits you, the greater candidate for the grace of God you become. The harder the enemy hits you, the greater of a candidate for the grace of God you become. Kung gano'ng kalaki yung hit ng enemy sa'yo, gano'n kalaki na nagiging candidate tayo ng grace ng Panginoon. Okay? Na nagiging candidate tayo to receive the grace of God. And that is what keeps us going forward. That is what keeps us going forward. And sinasabi na dito that we must seek the peace of God. But before we seek the peace of God, we must also seek the God of peace. Na hindi tayo hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na, Lord, ikaw yung magiging source ko ng blessing, pero hindi ko yung magiging source ko ng standards. That is impossible. Okay, that is impossible. Kung gusto po natin na maging source natin ng Panginoon ng blessings natin, source natin ng Panginoon ng mga nangyayari sa buhay natin, He must also become our source of standard. He must also become our source, our guidance of our life. Kailangan inaasa po natin yan sa Kanya. Your agreement with the enemy is keeping away the peace of God. The peace of God is the only thing that can keep away your anxiety. Okay? Yung peace ng Panginoon, yun lang po yung makakapagtanggal ng mga anxiety natin. So before the promise of God can be received, the agreement to the enemy must be broken. Before we can receive the promises of God, before we can receive the blessings of God, kailangan balikin muna natin yung mga strongholds ni Satan sa atin. Kailangan balikin muna natin yung mga paniniwalang mali. Kailangan balikin muna natin yung mga pinangahawakan natin sa mundo ko. Na inaasahan ko lang sa mundo ko na hindi dependent sa Panginoon. If we really want to receive the blessing of God, iasa natin sa Kanya 100%. Iasa po natin sa Kanya 100%. Because that is the only way for us to have a guided mind and a guarded